Hello, my name is Amanda Favors. I have picked physical disabilities for my fact sheet. There are many different types of disabilities that the students face, and so I just picked physical disabilities, but this could actually equal multiple things. So, with that, there's not just one certain cause. Depends on what the actual physical disability is to what the cause could be. Some examples of the physical disabilities could include our wheelchair users or amputees. Speech impairments can be physical disabilities, muscular dystrophy, and the list just goes on. These are just some. There's multiple others. With our physical disabilities, there can be limits for each of these kids. Depends on what disability they have. So if it's something dealing with their arms or their hands, they may not be able to write as well. If it's dealing in their legs or their hips, they may not be able to sit or stand. Some of our students may actually have feeding tubes because they can't eat, or they may have catheters because they can't go to the bathroom. So we need to be able to help all of our students. The students in wheelchairs definitely need the buses that have wheelchair ramps. These buses also, though, a lot of them, especially for the public school system, they also have seat belts on there. So our students that just can't sit still, these seat belts will help to maintain that also. The students that need to stay in their wheelchairs may need to actually have the special desk, or some that may need to be able to just have the special seatings. Like they may need a more comfortable chair, or they may need to be able to get up and sit down as they need. They may need those desks that raise up as they need it. Also, the ones in the wheelchairs, yes, some of them can get around by themselves, but others can't. Specifically, I have a student in my classroom now that he doesn't have the muscles in his arm to be able to maneuver that wheelchair himself. So he has to have it pushed. All right, so as I said, I have a student in my class. I do work in the SLC wing at Nevlet, and I specifically work in the autism class. So this child that I have, he doesn't just have autism, he has Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and this actually attacks the protein in his body, and it doesn't help his muscles contract or relax. It actually finally will eat away at the muscles. This child doesn't always have to be in the wheelchair, but on certain activities, you really need him in that wheelchair because some of the stuff is just not safe for him. So we have to keep his wheelchair with us just in case it comes to that, or in case he just gets too tired, because there's days he just gets too tired and he's like, he needs that wheelchair right then and there. In his last ARD, we put in that he does have to have his wheelchair be loaded on and off the bus, as he was steadily falling both directions. Once he's on the bus, he can actually get out of the wheelchair and go sit down. As far as in our classroom, his wheelchair cannot sit at the desk with him sitting comfortably. He has to move the foot pedal and everything, and he'd rather sit in a regular chair. So we moved his wheelchair over to the side. During our circle time, he cannot get up and down off the floor himself, so we move a chair over there for him to sit in. PRT time, that is where we're teaching them to play and how to play different games and stuff. And so if he is over in that area and winds up sitting down on the floor, there's a special belt that we have to put around him to be able to lift him. Now, they say you can do that with just one person, but I'm going to tell you, he is not a very light child. He's 10 years old, 5th grader, that is more close to 100 something pounds. So trying to lift him even with that belt by yourself is hard. So a lot of times that takes a couple of us to do that. While you're trying to get it all situated for him, even say his belt is on his wheelchair and you have to go get it to put it on him, he'll steadily scream out, help me, help me, help me, the whole time. this child, though, he so much wants to be like the other kids. So yesterday we went to the zoo, and he completely refused to sit in this chair while we're at the zoo. But the zoo steps were so wet, it was cold, and he would have slid if we didn't have him sit there. So we asked him to go ahead and sit down. He sticks his feet up underneath the wheel so we can't push it because he just did not want in it. So we have to actually try to adjust to walk with him with the wheelchair in front of him. So if we need it right away, he can just sit down. So we made it about halfway through the zoo, and his muscles just gave out to the point he was hanging onto a wall and finally agreed to sit down in it. This can be so hard for a student that just wants to be like everyone else. Some of the ways that we can help, because like not all of our schools are accessible to our wheelchair friends. So our playground at Neblett we have 2 different playgrounds. Neither one of them is accessible for the wheelchair students. On the bigger playground, there actually goes from a straight concrete drop of a sidewalk straight into grass. You can try to push them around in that grass, but even then, they still cannot get up onto the basketball court. They can't get up onto any of the equipment on that big court. On the little side, there is a whole sidewalk that we can push him around in, but there's not really anything for him to do except to be pushed around. On the actual equipment, his wheelchair cannot go. So he will get out and try to go up on the equipment by himself, and he's gotten stuck. So we need people to be able to stand up and fight for these kids. Be their voice, because they don't have one. Stand up, make petitions, help raise funds for these schools to have better equipment, so they can actually have wheelchair swings or whatever we are needing. When it comes to school election time, vote for the people that are going to help put stuff in place that these kids need, and volunteer at the schools. See what you're not seeing daily. See how you think you could help in each of these places, and just be an extra hand. As I said, that this child's only in my class, but there's another child in another class. She cannot get out of the wheelchair ever. And that's disheartening, because there's nothing for her to play with outside. There's no way for her to play out there. Here's some links I've set up for y'all that y'all can click on to learn more, specifically about children with disabilities, with physical disabilities, or specifically Dutchinson's. Like I said, there's millions of different types of physical disabilities, but go learn some more. Thank you.